Having just reviewed Asha and Monster World, I feel like this is the absolute best time for me to reveal a deep, dark secret. You see, my first exposure to Wonder Boy wasn't Dragon's Trap, Monsterland, or even the 1986 arcade original. It was this game, Hudson's Adventure Island. What was originally designed to be a Wonder Boy port on the Nintendo Entertainment System ended up spawning its own long-running franchise due to a weird licensing mishap. To help celebrate the 35th anniversary of this Hudson classic, I want to break down the narrative throughline that connected Master Higgins' many island-hopping escapades. Turn back now if you don't want to know what happens next, because today we're going to spoil the stories and endings for the complete Adventure Island series. This is Game Over, the early years. Before we can talk about the Adventure Island franchise, we first need to acknowledge the game that started it all, Wonder Boy. First released back in 1986 by a company known at the time as Escape, this was a relatively simple action platformer about a half-naked kid running through the tropical island in hopes of saving his kidnapped girlfriend. Sure, it wasn't the most original setup, and the hero was a little underdeveloped, but the action was fast-paced and so much fun that the game had the word hit written all over it. Now, here's where things start to get a little confusing. Because Sega controlled the Wonder Boy trademark, they ended up taking the name and turning the series into more of an action-adventure template, with sequels like Monsterland, Dragon's Trap, and Monster World 4, which was just remade as Wonder Boy, Asha, and Monster World on PlayStation 4 and Switch. With Sega owning the name, Escape decided to team up with Hudson Soft to create what amounts to a modified port starring a brand new character known as Master Higgins. Now, it's worth noting that the character was originally named Takahashi Meijin in Japan and modeled after the charismatic Hudson Soft spokesman. UK viewers, on the other hand, may know the character as Master Higgins. But for the sake of this video, we're just gonna keep calling him Master Higgins just for simplicity. Look, no matter what you call him, Master Higgins' first journey through Adventure Island is surprisingly similar to what Wonder Boy ended up going through. In fact, the two games have exactly the same story. It seems that a witch doctor has kidnapped Tina, which sends Higgins on a tropical journey to save her. He skateboards through the jungle, jumps on a bunch of clouds, explores the island's caves, and slips and slides through the icy structures. All this leads to a fight against the Witch Doctor, which wears a skull necklace and sports a cat's head. Master Higgins lights that bad doctor up, and this is what happens next. Now, before we move on to Adventure Island 2, we first need to address an odd inconsistency between the games and the instruction manuals. As you just saw from the ending of the first game, Master Higgins saves the love of his life, Tina. However, if we were to go by the instruction manual, then we would find out that we were actually trying to save somebody named Princess Leilani. What's funny is that the official story of the second game tries to retcon that continuity problem by making the two women sisters. It suggests that because of Adventure Island 1, Leilani is safe, but her sister, Tina, has been captured by the same evil witch doctor. I want you to just go ahead and keep that in mind as you watch this ending to Adventure Island 2. In 1992, Master Higgins made the 16-bit jump with Super Adventure Island. Given the weird inconsistencies between the instruction manuals and the game cartridges, you might think that this would be the perfect time to iron out all of the details and get everybody on the same page. Well, they didn't do that. Instead, what they did was completely forget that Princess Leilani even existed and gave Tina a brand new name. Let me introduce you to Genie Jungle, who is turned into stone by a magical entity known as the Dark Cloak. Hoping to break that spell, Master Higgins chases the flying wizard to its lair, sending him through all kinds of traditional Adventure Island mainstays. You skateboard through the jungle, visit the mines, swim through the underwater areas, and slide around the snow-covered mountains. All in glorious 16-bit. All this leads to a showdown with Dark Cloak, who ends up turning into this weird bouncing elephant demon thing. But don't worry, because our hero avoids getting crushed, and the demon falls into the fire where he burns to death. Here is a rather disappointing ending that definitely does not star Tina. Good news, everybody! Hudson Soft has finally settled on a name for Tina. Unfortunately, the name they decided to go with was Genie Jungle. Oh, and she's been kidnapped by aliens. Yeah, it's kind of a 1-2 punch for the princess formerly known as Leilani in this one. Now, as Master Higgins once again races through the jungle, I think this is a good time to mention that he's been forming friendships with some of the island animals in each of the sequels. Those animals help our hero reach the alien abductors in their volcano lair. After a short battle with the UFO, out pops a nasty-looking alien who tries to get the upper hand. But guys, this is not Master Higgins' first rodeo. Here's a guy who's not only dealt with a witch doctor and a magician and even a dark cloak, but he has a girlfriend who keeps changing her name. Trust me, he's ready for this fight. And after clobbering those aliens, this is what happens next. Alright, so after being kidnapped multiple times, turned to stone, abducted by aliens, and constantly renamed, I think we can all agree that Genie Jungle deserves a win. She gets that in New Adventure Island on the TurboGrafx 16. Not only does the instruction manual go back to calling her Tina, but at long last she is finally getting married to the love of her life, Master Higgins. Of course, this is still an Adventure Island game, so she immediately gets captured by a shadowy new foe named Baron Bronsky. That's right, it's once again up to the newlywed husband to jump on a skateboard and not only save his bride, but also a bunch of the island's children. After once again racing through the jungle and jumping on clouds, our hero comes face to face with Baron Bronsky, who is revealed to be a monkey monster guy thing, I guess? Once again, Master Higgins saves Tina, and this is what happens next. Okay, back on the Super NES. Super Adventure Island 2 takes place immediately after the events of New Adventure Island. Master Higgins has saved the day and rescued his bride, which means that it's finally time to take that honeymoon. Unfortunately, this is an Adventure Island game, so something has to go wrong. Out of nowhere, the two lovers are split up because of a cyclone. Now, don't worry, Tina hasn't been kidnapped yet. She washed up dazed and more than a little confused on the island of Waku Waku. Something similar also happened to Master Higgins, who finds himself on a deserted island with amnesia. He has no memories of his wedding day or even Tina, but that's not gonna stop him from jumping into action and racing through the jungles in order to save the day. I mean, it's just muscle memory at this point. The thing that really gets the ball rolling is when Master Higgins runs into the king, who has some exciting news. You see, he recently fell in love with a fetching young woman with amnesia who he intends to appoint as queen. There's just one problem. Yeah, she's been mysteriously kidnapped. It's an Adventure Island game, guys, come on. After being visited by a vision of Tina in his dreams, Higgins accepts the king's offer to rescue the future queen in hopes that she may be able to recover his lost memories. Look, long story short, our hero slowly begins to regain his memories and go on a shockingly long adventure to rid the different islands of evil. This leads to a heartbreaking scene where Higgs realizes that his new bride has no memory of him. This moment is made even worse by a mysterious figure that gets in between the newlyweds and threatens their happiness. This leads to a fight in the clouds with that cloaked character, who eventually is revealed to be this weird one-eyed space lobster. Master Higgins once again hacks and slashes his way to victory, and this is what happens next. For American gamers, that was the official conclusion to the Adventure Island storyline. Master Higgins and his beautiful bride lived happily ever after with no more kidnappings, no more name changes, and just nothing like that ever again in the future. However, that's not where this story ends. In Japan, there's one more 8-bit entry that came out in 1994. It was called Master Takahashi's Adventure Island 4 and gave us our first and only glimpse of Master and Tina as a normal married couple living together in their island mansion. But obviously, things change for the worse when a mysterious face shows up in the sky and captures all of Higgins' animal helpers. Happy that she wasn't the one being kidnapped this time, Tina wishes the island's hero good luck and watches him do what he does best: race through the jungles, rescuing his loved ones. So there's this loop that gets repeated a bunch of times where we go to an island, defeat the evil monster, and then save the captured animal helper. Rinse, repeat. I mean, it's just the typical Adventure Island formula. And just when it looks like it's gonna buck the whole damsel in distress cliche, the mysterious face decides to once again break the couple up and capture Tina. Yeah, that's expected, but hey, look on the bright side. At least the evil face decided to wait until the very end of the game, so she's basically kidnapped for like 10 minutes. As abductions go, I'd say that's not that bad. All Higgins needs to do is travel to that scary castle in the distance, which is where he'll go head-to-head with the evil eggplant wizard and save his sweetheart one last time. Oh boy, after 7 games spanning 8 years and 3 different systems, the Adventure Island saga concludes with this finale. Considering all these two have been through, this is a sweet ending to the franchise. I mean, the Adventure Island cinemas were never that deep or involving, so there's something nice about seeing the married couple finally being able to relax on the beach. Their battles with wizards, monsters, magicians, and even an eggplant has all come to an end, which means that they can finally work on the relationship and the island life. I'm not gonna lie, that actually sounds pretty good right about now. Alright, so in case you're wondering, there was one more entry in the series that came out about a dozen years ago. It was called Adventure Island: The Beginning and swapped out 8-bit sprites for 3D polygons. It's not very good and doesn't even have a proper ending, so there's really no reason to talk about it in this show. Sadly, that's probably the end of the line for Master Higgins and his island hopping adventures. But even if neither Hudson nor Konami ever continue the franchise, I would say that most of these old school games still hold up. They're simple and basic, especially when compared to the direction that the Wonder Boy series went, but they're definitely still fun. So here's to you, Master Higgins and Tina, or Leilani, or Genie Jungle, or whatever name you're going by these days. Why is that the confusing part of this franchise? Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Game Over, the early years. If you like this kind of story breakdown, then you should know that we post new episodes almost every week. In fact, we just hit 125, so the playlist is bursting with great endings. Now, here's the question I have for you. What is your favorite Adventure Island game? Also, do you think that Konami should resurrect Master Higgins? Maybe turn him into the next big 3D hero? Let me see your thoughts in the comments below. In other news, I'm scrambling to get more reviews done, as well as a comprehensive look at how old school critics ranked all of the old Virtua Fighter series. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,